All right, well, we do still have a few people trickling in here, but we'll go ahead and get started so we make sure to have plenty of time to answer any questions you guys may have. So I want to thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Website Design Basics. Website design, did I say that? I think so. With Scott Clanin of Clanin Marketing. And before I hand it over to Scott, just a few quick notes. As most of you know who have attended our webinars before, you are more than welcome to ask questions. We just ask that you submit those via the chat box, and we will address them once Scott is done with his presentation. You'll also receive a follow-up email later today with both a recording of today's session along with the link to the Clanin Marketing website where you can download a copy of the presentation. And we do have a handful of community partners co-hosting today's session with us. So I will go ahead and link all of their organizations in that email as well, if you'd like to check out any of them. I do want to make one quick note. If any of you visit our website calendar, we are aware of the time issue on the events. They are noting that they start at 2 a.m., 6 a.m., 11 p.m., and I can guarantee you we are not doing them at that time. But if you scroll down about halfway through the description, it does have the accurate time. So if you were browsing that before, once you get the follow-up email and notice that we are working through that issue. So just a quick note if you're looking at those. So at this time, I'll hand it over to Scott and we'll get started.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Jordan, and good morning. Thank you all for joining us for our webinar, Website Design Basics. I'll be sharing my screen, so one moment while I pull that up. Okay, 1 second here. All right, Jordan, just to confirm, it should be popping up in a second. Can you see my screen?
Yep, we can.
Excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Again, good morning. This is Website Design Basics with partnership with the SBDC at Champaign County EDC and all of our incredible community partners. Again, we want to thank them for making this webinar possible for you today. A couple of housekeeping items. If you'd like a PDF of today's presentation, you can visit our website at claninmarketing.com/workshops. Just scroll at the bottom of that page and you'll see a For Attendees section. Just fill out your name and email, and again, you'll get a copy of today's presentation. We're so excited to continue our partnership with the SBDC as we have over the past number of years. And with this partnership, we have developed a series of free marketing webinars for you to join throughout the year. So Jordan and I have just worked on creating a list of different topics all the way through August right now. And then we'll be meeting here in the coming months to develop the rest of the series throughout the rest of the year. These are topics, anything from Instagram. That's actually going to be one of our upcoming ones next month. In person at the Champaign Public Library, if you are local here in the Champaign-Urbana area. We'll be going over Instagram Reels. We talk about some of our other workshops, email marketing, Google Analytics, Google Ads, Facebook, etc. So all of them are free. So be sure to join those and take all the notes you can. So again, today's copy of the presentation can be found on our website. And at the very top of this page, we do have that list of other upcoming webinars and workshops for the rest of the year. As Jordan mentioned, my name is Scott Clanin. I am the owner of Clanin Marketing. We're a marketing and creative agency based in downtown Champaign, serving clients all across the Midwest. We started in the digital marketing space when Facebook back in, gosh, I think the first Facebook page I started was back in 2007 and for a business. And since then, so much has evolved. So that's really how we got started. But now we do a lot. We do brand development, video production, and of course, website design. So I'm so excited to share with you a variety of different website tips that I share with our clients. You know, we also do a lot of website auditing with a new program with the SBDC, where we audit a lot of websites. And what I found with those audits are common mistakes that people make when they do set up their website themselves. So we're going to be going over all those tips with you today. So thank you very much for joining us. Okay, so this is the game plan for today. We're going to go over just, of course, the importance of having a website. Making sure that you set your goals and objectives early on, either before you start designing a site or maybe before you start auditing your own website. I'm sure there's a handful of you on the call that you already have a website. Maybe you designed this website yourself some time ago. Now is a good time to maybe pause and reevaluate, does this still work for our needs? So we're going to talk about what goals and objectives are and what you should be looking for. Excuse me. Our audience, of course, platforms. There are so many options available out there of what platforms to select to build your website on. So we're going to be talking about some platform recommendations, overall design trends, and then we're going to leave you with just a quick checklist and overall best practices. Again, those tips and tricks that I've seen a lot of people end up missing, and what are ways that we can help strengthen your site a bit so Google can hopefully rank it higher on the search engines, which I know is really marketing gold if you can rank high on the search engines. And then I have a couple of resources I'd like to leave you with. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and Jordan may have mentioned this as well. If you would like to, if you have a question, feel free to leave that question in the chat box here. We should have time at the end, and we'll go over those questions. And the chat box is in the little Zoom toolbar. Okay, let's talk about website importance. Over the past month, I've actually gotten a couple of calls, asking about website design and the importance of a website, or some people just decided not to renew their website. They feel like they could rely solely on social media. So I really wanted to just talk about why a website is really important, why you should spend a good investment money if you do have some money to spend money on a website, and of course time. For those who are just starting out, I know budgets can be a little low for any new business when you're just starting out, and so you may not have a big budget to hire a developer, but you do want to do it yourself and you're willing to learn. Great, as long as you're okay putting in the time. And so I'm going to give you all these tips and tricks. But of course, one of the first things I always say is that your website is your hardest working marketing tool. It's constantly marketing your products or services for you 24/7. So when you're closed, when you're on vacation, who's still selling for you? It's your website, and your website's really the front door into your business. It's what Google will prioritize when it comes to ranking certain sites on their search engine. But at the end of the day, it's your hardest working marketing tool. It's the biggest resource for customers doing their research. And of course, the other website importance is the ability to rank on Google. And I put in parentheses in here, and capture active audiences and capture an active audience. What do I mean by that? When someone is going to Google, right, they are performing a search, whether they're searching for your business name or they're searching for a product or service that you have to offer. And so that is an active search. Whereas Facebook, Instagram, right, maybe you run an advertisement on those pages. You have a presence on social media, as many of us do. I kind of look at that as more of a passive audience. These are people that are just on Facebook, Instagram, right? They're scrolling for hours just through their stream, watching videos and connecting with their family and friends. You're getting in front of them on social media while planting seeds, right? You're sharing your information about your company, your product and services, with the hope that, hey, maybe one day they may need us, right? Maybe right now they need us. So you're getting in front of them passively, but where on Google, they're actively searching for what you have to offer. So you want to rank high. You can only rank high on Google or on other search engines if you have a well-designed website. If you don't have a website, some of your social media accounts may still show up, but Google is going to prioritize websites above that. And we'll talk a little bit about search engine optimization here in a bit. So at the end of the day, having a website is extremely important. I know that's why you're on the webinar today, to learn how to strengthen your site. But everyone certainly needs a website. Okay, so let's take some time to prep. And these are things that I like to do even before we design a website for a client. It's important to get your ducks in a row, because it's going to make identifying a template a lot easier, gathering content a lot easier, understanding the layout of your site a lot easier if you do this prep work ahead of time. So even if you have a current website now, I think it's still important to take the next slides into consideration as maybe you start auditing your website. You can keep some of these things in mind. Okay, so the first one I want to go over is just overall goals and objectives. What do you want to achieve? And I always ask this question, what are your call to actions? Meaning, when someone is on your website, what do you want them to do? I think for a lot of us, it's, I want them to call us. I want them to email us. Perfect, right? We need to encourage someone to reach out. Maybe you offer a free consultation, a no obligation 30-minute free consultation. Maybe you offer demonstrations, free products or samples you're giving away, right? Whereas others, maybe your call to action, you're looking to generate and grow your email list, or you're looking for people to sign up for your newsletters. That would be a call to action on the site. So think about what your goals and objectives are. I'm going to give you some ideas. And as you're going through these, it's okay to have multiple goals and objectives for your site, because then your site can continue to grow. Certain pages on your site might have different goals and objectives, and I'll kind of put these into frame here. But the first one I think a lot of us have for goals and objectives is a marketing objective. We want to drive traffic, generate prospects, generate leads, and re-engage with existing customers, right? Maybe for some of us who want them to come back to our website, see what we have going on, see some new products that we're offering. Second, of course, sales. Some of you on the call today may be e-commerce based sites where you're selling products online. Perfect. That's a very easy goal and objective. Maybe you're selling products, but there's also some storytelling. People are attracted to stories. We love a good story, and every business has a story to tell. And so why did you start this clothing boutique? Why do you select the certain products that you offer? And maybe you have a certain high quality of standards that you look for the products that you carry. Those are all stories that you can tell on your site, because as many of us do, we all have competition. So it's all about making sure, yes, we're selling our products, right? We're providing information about our products, we're providing information about our services, but we're also leaning into our differentiators on the site. What makes us different compared to maybe a competitor down the street? Why buy from us? So I think for a lot of us, it's marketing and sales objective. Some of you on the call may have a customer support objective. Before I started my company, I worked for a ag tech company where we worked with a lot of farmers on this really cool piece of technology where we would fly over their fields and take scans of their fields, crop and soybean, or corn and soybean fields. And we would look for a variety of different things, but our website was all of this, right? We had marketing objectives, sales objectives, and a customer support. We had a whole separate page on our website for our current customers, where they could watch demonstration videos, they can print out different help step-by-step guides, right? So some of you may have a customer support portal section on your site where you want to try to improve customer satisfaction through better service. You want to provide those additional resources on your site. So some of you might have a customer support one. Excuse me. Some of you may have an IT objective. This is a question that we always ask during what we call a discovery call is, we're talking about goals and objectives, but does the website need to talk to any other third-party management system that you have? Maybe it's a customer relationship platform, CRM, it's like a MailChimp, right? Some sort of emailing database. Maybe it needs to be integrated with some sort of online point of sale or shipping account that you already have. So think about, is my website simple? What I mean simple is I just want to have X amount of just 3 or 4 pages, lists my services, a little bit about me, and I just need a contact us form. Perfect, that's easy peasy. But then some of you may have, well, I have a booking system for my salon where people want to, people can book appointments with me, and I manage my appointment system in a third-party application. I need that application embedded onto my website. This is what I mean with IT. Do you have any special integrations that your website needs to integrate with? And again, these are all things to keep in mind when you dive into what template is right for you and what tools do I need to be looking for so I can accommodate these different goals and objectives. And the last one, I know many of us probably have this goal, but it's recruitment. I can't tell you the number of new requests we've gotten that fall within this objective, right? I think a lot of us are struggling to find, quality employees that to join our team. So for a human resources page, maybe once back in the day, it was simply, hey, here's a page with all of our available jobs, click now to apply. But now recruitment pages are turning into their kind of own separate landing page experience where we're doing a lot of storytelling about our culture. We're sharing stories about maybe employees that have worked with us for some time through testimonial videos, right? So we're really trying to lean into all those differentiators on our recruitment pages now, leaning into our culture pages. Again, this is more for larger companies on the call that are really struggling with that. But again, your website might have a whole separate element, this whole separate objective, really spearheaded by your human resources department for a recruitment objective. So, and like I mentioned, there may be some people on the call where they need to check the box for all of these goals and objectives. So that's important to keep in mind as we're thinking about the overall layout of your site and the hierarchy and where things need to go. Of course, if you've been in my webinars in the past, this is the slide I have in almost every one. Anything that you do in the world of marketing, it's really important to understand your targeted audience. So who do you want to talk to? Where are they? And what's most important to them? And then from there, tell me a little more about income, gender, hobbies, behaviors, lifestyle choices, etc. Who are we bringing in? This is going to help us with overall layout. It's going to help us with overall copy of the website because we want to write copy that speaks to the audience that we're trying to hit, right? So really think about who you want to target and who your site is for. So your website should appeal to your target audience. To attract the right audience, you need to start by understanding and defining who they are. So what is my customer trying to accomplish? Okay, so what are my goals? And what's most crucial to them? What are their values? This is a little example I found from Wix. Wix is a great third-party platform that we'll talk about here in a second. But this was a kind of a vegan-based restaurant or cafe. And this was an example of putting the perfect customer profile together. So this is Jane. Jane's goals, increase protein intake, spend less time preparing meals. Some of Jane's values: a vegan lifestyle, clean organic eating, finding the best deals. And you can kind of see what some of Jane's challenges and pain points are. So again, putting this little mini profile together of, let's think about what my perfect customer is, what my targeted customer, my targeted audience is, and tell me more about that person. What are some of their challenges? What are things that are going to stand out to them? Again, this is really going to help you identify where things need to go on your website. What does your copy need to contain? Keywords, phrases, what does it need to say to really hit and talk to, again, your core audience? So this is just a little example of, this could be a fun little group activity for your team of, let's think about who's visiting our website and what are their goals and what are their values and what are their pain points that we as a company, through our products and through our services, we can help with those pain points with what we have to offer, right? We can help with those challenges. So again, all things to keep in mind as you start diving into platforms. So I think for a lot of us, right, we have a business, we have an organization, and you want to immediately dive right into getting your website up and running. But again, think back to those other slides and make sure you have your ducks in a row before you dive into this. It's really going to help identify, well, what does my template need to look like? What are the key elements I need to have on my website? So I'm going to go over a handful of platforms, and this is great for those on the call who are your DIYers, right? You want to do it yourself, and and I applaud you for that. I think it's great. I think for businesses that want to do it themselves, they want to learn and may not have a huge budget for a developer, this is perfect. And things have changed over the past 8 years to where there's some incredible platforms out there that have beautiful templates that you can still customize and tailor. So let's talk about what some of these platforms are. The first ones I want to go over are two, Google Sites and GoDaddy. Now, with all of these sites, I will say I can't really go over pricing with you today because, like many, there's so many different tiers, right? And it all depends on the type of business you have. Pricing might be different from an e-commerce business versus a site that just needs something very, very basic. But I grouped these two together because they're somewhat similar. These are very, very basic template sites. So Google Sites and GoDaddy, great solutions for very simple, we'll type of their simple websites and small businesses. So these sites offer a very limited number of template and customization options. So if you're a small business, you don't need anything crazy. You're okay with just kind of picking a template, maybe adjusting a color or two, and you're off and running. This is a quick and easy way to get a website swiftly online at a pretty inexpensive cost. Both these sites will have some templates that you can choose from, but honestly, I think it's like maybe 5 or 6 templates. You don't have very many options. So if you're one that really likes options, maybe this isn't the best solution. But if you're one on the call that says, you know what, I just need something that looks good, it's mobile friendly, I don't need a big website at all. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time with it. I have a few photos. I want to upload my logo and a little bit of copy. Maybe look into these two sites, Google Sites and GoDaddy. The next two I grouped together are somewhat similar. These are, again, those out-of-the-box template-based solutions, Squarespace and Wix. I'm very knowledgeable in both these platforms. They both have pros and they both have cons. Squarespace is great for more of a modern, contemporary, extremely clean look, where if you set a font for maybe your title section across your website, it will use that same font across everything for a nice consistent look. Wix gives you a little more customization options. You have the ability to move things exactly where you want them on Wix, where Squarespace is very structured and very templated, but it looks great if you do go for more of that modern, contemporary, less is more minimalistic look. Squarespace is still a beautiful platform. So I added some information there. Squarespace and Wix offers way more template options than Google Sites and GoDaddy does. They even have different drop downs. So some of you on the call may be service-based businesses, maybe restaurant, retail, salons, financial, professional services, business advisory services. They actually have drop downs for each one of those categories. So it will give you ideas. Okay, if you're a restaurant, here are some different restaurant option templates on there for your menu, right? But if you're a salon, maybe you need, instead of a food menu, you need a list of menu of your different services that you offer at that salon. So they'll have those pre-built templates where you can go in and click preview, play around to see how you like it. Does this feel like us? Does this feel like our brand? We'll talk about brand here in a bit. WordPress. I will say WordPress is really the industry standard when it comes to website design. This is where you have so many customization options because there's a lot of what's called plugins out there that you can add to your site and add a lot of really cool elements. WordPress is a little more challenging to get off and running. So if you're not too tech savvy, I would stay between the Google Sites, GoDaddy, Squarespace, and Wix. But if you're one that likes to take on a challenge and wants a ton of customization options, and you see your business really growing over the next, I don't know, 4 to 5 years, and you need your website to grow with you, where you can add in some other elements, WordPress may be a good solution. And then if you do sell products, WooCommerce is really the go-to for selling products on WordPress. Again, that's called WooCommerce. And then Shopify. I love Shopify. Shopify is, again, for those on the call who do sell physical products online. It is very similar to Squarespace and Wix. They have some templates out there. There's also a marketplace where you can buy templates that are already pre-designed. They look incredible. And like with all of these sites, you have the ability to go in and change your color to your branded color code, add in fonts so then you can really tailor it to your site. This is something I often see is missed, is someone goes into the Google Sites, GoDaddy, Squarespace, Wix, or Shopify, they pick a template, they might upload their logo, and that's it. But it still looks very templatey. There's just something with it where the site doesn't look like them. And so make sure to take the time to understand where are those settings where I can change the color, where I can change the font, right? So then it's very tailored, it's very customized to me. That's what I love about these sites, is that it's perfect for small to mid-sized businesses with not a huge budget, for people that want to do it themselves. You can still have a great looking site. It's not like how it was 10, 15 years ago where you had to invest a ton of money into a website. You could do it yourself. These are some incredible platforms to get started. In addition to Shopify and many of these sites on here, since they're very popular with the small to mid-sized business sector, they integrate well with other platforms. So if you do newsletters through MailChimp, there's built-in integrations with MailChimp with a lot of these. If you sell products online and if you have a popular Instagram account, you can connect your Instagram account to Shopify and tag your products that way. Again, with all this, I make it, hopefully I don't make it sound too simple, because it will take a little bit of time to understand how it all works. But again, these are the sites that I recommend. By no means are these the only sites out there. These are ones that I just see majority of the time when we're working with clients and they come to us with a website. I have experience with a lot of these. I'm sure there's some other incredible sites out there, but I would say maybe start here, because they're very, at the end of the day, they're very user-friendly, and you don't need to know how to code. Back in the day, that 10 to 15 years ago, you kind of had to know how to do HTML code. That's really how websites were built. But now there's so many of these out-of-the-box solutions. You can customize them and still get an incredible looking site. So hopefully that answers some questions on what my options are when it comes to design platforms. Where should I start to look at what platform to be on? But maybe some of you are on a platform that you just don't like. Maybe look into switching over to a different platform. Let's take some time to look at design trends. Design, the world of design, and really art, right? Art, design, fashion, etc., is constantly changing. We typically say your website is good for about anywhere between 4 to 6, maybe 7 years-ish before it really starts looking a little older. Just yesterday I looked at a website, I think that was launched in 2012, and it looked very outdated, right? It just wasn't on par with today's design standards. So I'm going to give you a couple little screenshots of what we're seeing when it comes to design standards. But the beauty of these sites here is that their marketplace for these templates are always changing. They have designers at these companies that design these templates for you, and you can pick one that catches your eye, that's most in line with, again, your goals, objectives, and then of course your brand. So don't worry of like, I really don't have a design eye, I'm not sure what I'm doing. It's okay. They'll have a marketplace full of incredible templates that they're constantly coming out with. But I want to give you a couple things, at least, that we're seeing when it comes to design trends. Bold and colorful. This is a big thing. We want to capture attention when someone lands on your website. So when they land on it, do we draw them in? Do they want to keep reading, right? I think gone are the days of just black text with a lot of white, right? We want to come up with incredible typography and rich colors that, again, align with your brand, of course. The second one here, we want to add really nice illustrations, good video, good photography. This afternoon, we're working with a client to take their own stock photography. And because I think a lot of times that's one of the biggest challenges that everyone has is, gosh, I want to create this flyer. I want to create this social media post, or I need to put new photos on my website. I don't have any. And content generation, I know, is challenging because it takes time and money too. So I do want to give you a tip if you're taking notes. If you don't have stock photography right now, your own custom stock, be sure you're not pulling random photos from Google and using them, because you can get into some serious copyright issues. So instead, there's 2 sites I love to share with people: Pexels, PEXELS.com. Again, that's PEXELS.com, and Unsplash, UNsplash.com. These are free, license-free stock photography sites where you can go type in a search and download a photo. This photo that actually you see here on the right-hand side of this drawing of a website framework came from one of those sites. We have the ability to use this for whatever purpose we want. and you don't necessarily have to give credits to the photographer. You can, it's encouraged, but you don't have to. And you don't have to worry about purchasing it or copyright issues at all. Of course, your own custom stock stands out a lot better on a website. But if you don't have the time or funds right now, definitely check out those two sites. Animation, a lot of times with these template-based sites, you can apply a little bit of animation to where as someone scrolls to the site, certain text starts to appear. Maybe it just kind of fades in, it comes from left or right. It just adds a little bit of liveliness to your page. It keeps attention on the page. It just makes it a little more interesting to the user. So animation is a big one. Large homepage image or video banners. When you first land on a website, a lot of times one of the first things you see is almost a full width, huge image with great text on top. That text is a lot of times a quick header text of who you are, what your mission is, the services that you offer. And then sometimes that instead of a big image, it's like a video that kind of loops behind the scenes. It helps draw you in. The longer we can get people to stay on our website, the better. That's one of the things that Google actually looks for when it comes to search engine ranking. If Google sees that people are hitting your website and they're not spending very long on it at all, and they're just bouncing off, they could penalize you and not rank you as high because Google thinks, you know what, maybe this site's not very relevant because people aren't spending a whole lot of time. So what can we do to make this an engaging, fresh, new page experience? I added some examples here. As a disclaimer, some of these sites are sites that we've designed, others are templates, and then some are for some other companies that I really enjoyed. But if you look at the two on the left here are actually, I believe, templates from some of those sites that we just went over. You can kind of see what a template looks like on the top left. They have kind of a placeholder logo, taking your business to the next level. That's perfect for a nice entry-level text. I'm a paragraph, click here to add. So they give you little placeholders where you can add in some copy. And then you can kind of see what I was talking about with bold typography. You have that beautiful serif font and the nice big text there on the left. And you have a really nice image. This actually was a video that looped behind. And then as you continue to scroll, you have then all of your supporting copy. You have beautiful, what we call white space around different sections. So then you give it a little bit of breathing room so it doesn't seem too overwhelming. The one on the bottom left here, we're starting to see less structure when it comes to websites. You can kind of see there's certain areas where text hangs on top of images. Again, you'll see this when you do look at some of your templates. The site on the right is actually one that we designed in one of the template-based platforms. We found a template we liked, but then we went in and manipulated it. So it was very tailored to her. Colors, certain fonts that we're using, kind of see over on that next to that yellow button, you have that little lemon, the badge icon, we added that. You have some overlapping text on top of other sections there. But overall, it's a very fresh, clean look. That's really what you're looking for. Just a couple other examples here, very bold, minimal in a way. We don't want to overwhelm someone when they land on our website. On the left is a poke restaurant. So they have a beautiful top-down photo there at the top, very eye-catching. Love the colors on this. You have text on top. So in this case, they put, I think, their logo there, quality products, Hawaiian flavors, a little bit of some marketing line there, open daily for takeout and delivery. And then we have, we'll talk about this in a second, that blue button there, order online. That is called your call to action. So it's really important to think about goals and objectives. For this poke business, their goal and objective was to push online orders. So that's one of the very first buttons that you see, order online. There it is again on the top right in the navigation, order online. As you scroll to the next, what we call the strip section, we'll talk about strips on the next slide. We have the homepage image there in the top. The next section is this beautiful yellow color. And then you have almost this really cool little postcard inspired graphic where you can add in text and then click see menu. And then you push that person to the menu. So really what they're doing is they're pushing people to the menu, to the online ordering system. This is a template. This would cost a significant amount if this was custom designed by someone. But this is a template that you can pick and change the color. So if that yellow is not doing anything for you, if that's not part of your brand color, very easy for you to change. On the right-hand side, this is an e-commerce store What I love about this is that you have this nice subtle blue color there, the logo front and center. You first land on it, you have, again, this kind of off balance, but in a way it works. Very large photo on the right, smaller photo on the, or I'm sorry, large photo on the left, smaller photo on the right. As you scroll down, explore collection. So then it probably has different categories there. Introducing our capsule collection, their call to action, shop now. You have a little bit of what we call an announcement bar at the very top of the site, free shipping worldwide. So is there any messages that you need to let people know when they first land on your site? That's what maybe you can include in your announcement bar. Hey, we just released our new summer cocktail menu. We just welcomed this new team member to our team. Read her bio. We offer free shipping. We are moving, or we have a grand opening. What are those announcements that maybe can be put within a homepage header announcement bar? This next one here, this is a design that actually we designed. This is not a template. This is a custom design. But what I wanted to share with this is think about going back to the slide with goals and objectives. What do you need to include on your homepage? This actually started from this sketch. So you can kind of see the sketch on the right-hand side. This was our very first meeting when we were thinking about the goals and objectives and what we wanted to achieve on the website. This project was for the Illinois asphalt industry. And we knew through this working with them, we wanted to push 4 primary topics. This was about being a good neighbor, their controlled emissions, how they do a lot of really cool recycling efforts, and how asphalt is safe and smooth. 4 topics. So we have an overview video. We knew we needed to push that. That's kind of one of the primary pieces. And then we wanted to push people to what these 4 topics were in a very easy way. They didn't feel too overwhelming with a ton of text on the homepage. So from this sketch, again, this is for those who may be a little more artsy on the call. And if you're not, that's okay, because again, you're going to have a lot of templates available to you. But for those of you who are a little artsy on the call, who really want to do a DIY site, you could start with a sketch. And instead of a template, you could go to Wix or Squarespace or one of those other ones and kind of build a site yourself with kind of their plug and place tools. So you can kind of see how we went from sketch to reality. And then each one of these is what we call a strip section. So you have your homepage image strip with a really nice image, title text there. We go into the video. The second strip, you have a little more of that title, a little more built-in copy, as you can see, more than what's in the header. We have our 4 cards, and then as we continue to scroll, you have this yellow section. If we don't have yellow, imagine if that was white, right? That would be a lot of copy all on one white background. Adding in a brand color, adding in this kind of solid color strip. We did a solid color with a little bit of image that's faded behind. It gives the eye a break. So then as you're scrolling, not only your desktop, but most importantly on your mobile phone, it allows people to just digest it a little bit better. We end with resources, and then we anchor it with a nice bold footer there at the very bottom. Let's talk about call to actions. You saw some examples, right, of what do you need people to do. Call to action is a prompt. And when I've audited a lot of websites, I see that there's some missing areas where call to actions need to be. For service-based businesses, maybe you offer free consultation. So they're on their website, they see all of your services, but at the bottom of the page, it just goes to your footer. Well, what else? If they read all your services, what do you want them to do at that time? Call you, reach out, right? Let people know what they should do next. So at the bottom of a lot of your pages, you should have a call to action there where it's like, let's talk, schedule your free consultation today, contact us, right? Even if it's as simple as contact us, call now. When it comes to the world of website design, we kind of have to tell people what to do next, right? We give them the information, but we want to encourage them to then take an action. You can kind of see a couple of examples of call to actions here. Contrast designs, this all goes back to your branding. So you have this as a nice orange call to action button on a light blue background. You might have multiple call to actions, which is great. You can kind of see this baby store, baby list, create your baby list, find a registry. And then make sure it's front and center, whether that be at the top of a page, towards the bottom of the page. It's easy to find. In this case, they want people to add in their email address for this wish list here. I want to give a shout out to our friends at formerly Visit Champaign County, but they rolled out last month, I think it was this month, a new website called Experience Champaign-Urbana. As a disclaimer, we did not work on this website, but I just thought this was a great example for what we call above the fold and below the fold. So think back to the, let me see if I have a piece of paper, the old school days of newspapers, right? The newspaper would come to your front door and it would be folded in half like this. And so when it was folded, anything above the fold is what people saw first, right? When the newspaper was folded. Very similar concept when it comes to website design. What does someone see when they first land on your website before they have to scroll down? So when you first land on the new Experience Champaign-Urbana page, you see their beautiful kind of new color palette, this kind of two dual color orange, bold black background. You kind of see, we talked about trends earlier, bold typography, a little bit of that overlap. It's not as structured as maybe what website designs once were back in the day. Nice. Instead of a full width, this was kind of new that I saw. They did a kind of, not a perfect square, but more of a framed out rotating image where they have a few different images in there that are hyperlinked. Break routines, make memories, a little marketing text there. And then you have a little bit of a paragraph of some entry-level text. That's really what we see when we first land on the website. As I scroll now past that kind of break point, I go into another, what we call a strip section. So what's going on in Champaign-Urbana? That title text there is larger. It's helping you and your eyes see, okay, this is a new section. So we have your call to action button, see all events. I'm looking at those screenshot on the right-hand side. And then you have the little map there. That map overhangs above that kind of gray background, the heart of Midwest. I think it says get here as the call to action. So again, think about what's above that fold, what's above that scroll line. Warby Parker, when you first land on their website, I believe it's still the same here, but they have different call to actions. But as I scroll down, the right-hand side image, you can kind of see there's more to offer. There's other strip sections here. You can kind of see how they break it up with the hierarchy of fonts. A lot of those templates that are available to you online will already have this broken up for you. But if you first land on a website and you see one on the right-hand side, it's not bad, but it's a lot to take in at first. But when you first see what you see there on the left, it gives your eye a break for a second, and it's basically telling you, what do you want to do? Do you want to try frames at home, or do you want to shop online? And then it gives you those 4 call to action buttons there. Take a quiz, browse frames, etc. Okay, we have about 15 minutes left. I want to go over our checklist and overall best practices, and then we'll see if we have any questions. So be sure, if you haven't already, start dropping your questions into that chat box, and we'll be sure to go through those. Let's go through your checklist. So your checklist, again, very similar to kind of getting your ducks in a row with those slides we went over first. Make sure you have your branding established. You have a logo, you have a color, and you have a font, right? Or colors. That's really going to help then tailor and customize your site a bit more so it doesn't look too template-y. Of course, you have your goals and objectives identified. We went over those. Your audience, your call to action identified. That's a big piece. Your website layout structure is mapped out. Again, if you're not too artsy, this may be a challenge, and that's okay. But as long as you have an idea of what are the pages I need to have, homepage, services page, about us, contact, right? What other ones do you need to have? If you struggle with that, take a look at some of your competitors. Take a look at other similar companies like yours across the country. How do they structure their website? Copy and content is gathered. So what I mean by that is if you have an existing website that you're maybe going to design a whole new one, you're going to refresh it. Take the time to look at the existing copy. Is it a good time to refresh it? Does it still make sense? Does it sound like us? Is the brand messaging infused within the copy and content gathered? Does your website need to have downloadable, fillable PDFs for people online? What about photos? Now maybe it's a good time to have a little photo shoot, bring in a local photographer to take some photos, or start gathering some fresh, maybe photos from Pixels or Unsplash that you can download for your website. You want to invest a little more, the other stock sites out there, Shutterstock and Adobe Stock, those are two great sites. You do have to pay per photo, but again, you're going to have more options than you would on Pixels and Unsplash. So make sure you have all these things gathered before you start diving into a website design or redesign for your site. So going over some best practices, think simple. A lot of times you run into issues where someone wants to include way too much, either on the website or on a single page. Website designs just aren't like that anymore. Less is more. We want to get right to the point, but we want to lay it out in a beautiful way. And a lot of those templates will help you do that. So really think simple. What are the points we want to get across? Who are we talking? Who's our core audience? And are we speaking correctly to those people? Make sure you have a custom URL. This is pretty simple, but a lot of times those sites, you can create a site for free, like on Wix, but it won't let you connect your own custom URL. Like for us, it's claninmarketing.com. Make sure you have one. It's very inexpensive. It's like, well, 20 some dollars, I think, a year to have a custom URL. And a lot of times you can buy your own URL through those template-based sites. You can purchase it directly from GoDaddy. GoDaddy will connect it automatically to your site. So it's very, very easy. High quality photos, we really talked about that. Select fonts and colors that are easy to read. Use white space. We saw a little bit of that white space in one of those templates. Again, a lot of those templates will have all that baked in already, but really think about giving your content breathing room so then it doesn't look too overwhelming when you first land on the page. Because we've all been there, right? You've been to a website where you just go, oh my gosh, let me get my reading glasses, right? Because it's just a little overwhelming. So use a lot of white space, break up text into smaller pieces. If you have big paragraphs on your site, is there an opportunity to either cut some sentences out? Can we break that paragraph out into different strip sections like we saw? So again, how can we make that content digestible, very easy to skim and scroll if someone is just on their phone? Please, please, please make sure that you're checking your mobile design. A lot of times, it's 2023. I think a lot of us probably have a mobile-friendly website. If you're unsure if your website is technically mobile-friendly, you can go to Google and just type in free mobile-friendly test. And Google has a free tool where it will scan your website and let you know if your site is mobile-friendly. This does help with the overall search engines and how you rank on the search engines. But make sure you're checking mobile design. Wix, Squarespace, some of these other sites, if you're designing it in the desktop view, it will automatically render your site as mobile, but it does not get it right. It won't be 100% perfect. You do need to make sure you're going into the mobile view and making adjustments. Squarespace is a little more spot on. It's not as crazy as if you're in Wix and you design a site and then click over to mobile. Things may look a little off, but you have the ability to move and realign certain sections within your mobile site. So when your site goes live, make sure, yes, you're testing it on a laptop, desktop, but you do pull it up on your phone and go through every section. And that's just part of a quality control check, right? When you go live, making sure it looks good. And then use transparent PNG logos. This is something I've seen too. Make sure your logo has a clear background, right? It's not that white box that you put up at the corner. If possible, it's always good to have a full color version of your logo and a solid color, like a white version of your logo, you can put on top of a darker background that looks very sharp. So make sure you're using transparent. A lot of times transparent logos, they are that PNG format. Make sure when you're going through your site, you've completed all of your SEO, your search engine optimization settings. This is really for Google to make sure Google is ranking your site well. You're setting meta titles and descriptions. So I know this might sound confusing, but we've all seen this. This is I don't know what this company is, but I thought they had a good meta title and description. Salt and straw, it's homemade ice cream. Who doesn't love that? But this is what we see in Google, right? When we're searching for something, maybe we're specifically looking for salt and straw, but maybe we're just doing a search for homemade ice cream near me. This is what we see, and this is what we decide on selecting when we do see the list of options, the meta title and meta description. The blue line is your meta title. That smaller line at the bottom is your meta description. If you aren't aware, you have the ability to set this in a lot of those template-based sites that a lot of people forget. And if you don't set it, Google will automatically pull the first sentence from your website and place it here. So that's why sometimes you read someone's description on Google and it just seems kind of off. It's because they didn't set it. Make sure when you're setting this, you're adding a little bit of keywords in your description. You're adding some keywords, maybe even your location in the meta title. So for us in our meta title, we have Clanin marketing, graphic marketing website design, Champaign, Illinois. So we have now our name, a little bit of keywords and services, and location all within the header of our meta title. So that adds a little bit of SEO value in there. So again, a lot of those sites, you have the ability to add that, make sure you know where you're going. And if you're not, they offer some incredible videos online, some support materials, so it kind of will point you where to go to make sure you're adjusting those settings. Use good copy. If possible, if there is some money within your budget, maybe hire a copywriter to help you write some really nice, engaging marketing copy. AI, I'm sure Jordan and I will eventually have a workshop in the next year all about artificial intelligence and how that can help us as marketers, as business owners. But I know there's some AI platforms out there that can help you write copy, and it's just incredible. I've been testing it a little bit just to see proof of concept where you can give the program some prompts, a little bit about you, what you're looking to write, and then the AI program will write, in a lot of cases, some pretty sharp copy for you. So maybe look into that, but you can't go wrong with a human writing your copy for now. So maybe look at hiring someone to write your copy. But if you're really good with your words, you know your business better than anyone else, maybe take a stab at writing your own copy and have some peers review it. Does this make sense? Does this look good? Do you have any recommendations? Clear and simple navigation menu. We don't want to put way too much in our navigation menu. We want to keep it very simple. So where do we want to point people on our website? As we approach here towards the tail end of today's presentation, a couple other little resources and tips. One, if possible, please install Google Analytics on your site. These sites do have built-in metric reporting tools, but they only get you so far. Google Analytics is a free program from Google. It will tell you everything you need to know about your website, where people came from, site speed, where they're falling off, etc. If it's overwhelming for you, the one recommendation I have is at least install it. And maybe down the road, you can take some time to really dive into it, but it won't start collecting data until you install it. For those on the call who currently have Google Analytics on your site, it's very, very, very important to make sure that you update your Google Analytics program to Google Analytics 4.0 before July. So we only have about a month left. If you log into your Google Analytics account, your existing one, it will give you a very scary countdown, and it will have they have the whole second rolling down the minutes because they're updating their platform completely. So we're going from Google Analytics UA to Google Analytics 4.0, and there has to be a step that you have to take to make sure that your site is on the latest version. They will give you prompts, they will show you how to do it. But again, just as a note for those on the call who currently have analytics, you need to get that updated here in the coming month if you want your account to continue gathering good metrics into 2023. Of course, I've provided a lot of different really cool reports to run, what cities people came from, how many people come to your site from desktop, mobile. There's so many cool sites that you can pull from. I do want to end with website live chatting systems. This is really going to evolve as AI continues to rise. But live chat is a great platform for people that want to engage with users on your site. So Pure Chat is one. I personally use Pure Chat. It's a great platform. Live chat is a really good one to engage with your audience, right? Answer those questions. It's not for everyone. So don't feel like you have to install a live chat program on your site. But again, it all goes back to your core audience. So when I was using live chat, our audience was more the younger generation. And in 5 minutes, I'm not kidding, within 5-10 minutes of installing it, we had someone live chat us through the website. It was incredible. Facebook Messenger. If you engage with a lot of people through your Facebook page, a lot of Facebook messages, you do have the ability to actually add their Facebook Messenger chat feature onto your website and chat with people that way all through Facebook Messenger. So just type in Facebook Messenger live chat system on Google, and it will show you the prompts and steps on where to go. And then finally, I do want to end with Google Search Central. If you're interested in learning more about the search engine, how it functions, be sure to check out Google Search Central and give you a lot of tips on, again, how SEO works, how, what to look for, best tips on website design, and more. So that brings us to the tail end, or actually the very end of today's presentation. I do want to thank you for joining us for our website design basics. I hope you got some good takeaways. I know with all of my webinars that we could spend all day in here talking about a variety of different things, but I wanted to share at least some good platforms and some solid tips and tricks to hopefully help you elevate your site here into the future. So I'm going to hand it over to Jordan, and we'll see if there's any questions that came through.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Scott. Let me scroll down here. So the two questions we have are specific about the session, and they are if there's a link to the recording. Yes, that email will go out later today. And I'll also include that link that Scott mentioned for the Clanin marketing website. So in case you jumped on just a few minutes late and missed that, you can download a copy of the actual presentation. So if you want to go back through it, at your own time, you can do that as well. We do have one question. It says, how do you determine your color?
That's a great question. Let me actually pull something up for you real quick. So color is a big thing. You want to make sure that you don't pick a color that's challenging to read when there's text on top, specifically like a yellow background with white text. You can do it, but if it's a darker, warmer shade of yellow, a bright yellow with white text, you're not going to read it. This is big when it comes to accessibility. Those who may be visually impaired on your website, they won't be able to read that, right? Or they may be colorblind. This kind of goes back to, you can do a couple things. A lot of those templates will have pre-built color palette generators in there. If you work with a designer to then design your brand, they will also develop some brand colors for you. But I do want to drop in a free tool into the chat. Let me see if I can do that real quick. And let me change it so it sends it to everybody. There we go. I love this tool. My graphic designer and I use this all the time. What's really cool is that, let's say maybe you already have a color that you use, the RGB color codes or the hex color code. You can add that into this color palette generator, press the space bar, and it will give you color pairings. So it will say, okay, if you like this orange, here are some other colors that go with that orange. That's a good contrast. So maybe try that tool there. But again, a lot of those template-based sites will give you some color recommendations, color pairings.
Okay, we did get another one that says, where do you find accessibility standards for website designs?
That's a great question. Really, so I think there is a national site out there. I don't have it off the top of my head here of like, there's different levels of accessibility, right? There's like level A, AA, AAA, et cetera. A lot of times if you're using sites like GoDaddy, Wix, and Squarespace, they have a lot of those accessibility requirements built in, right? Because they, oh, thank you. Yes, someone did drop that in. A lot of times, I mean, they know that small businesses are using these platforms, right? And not every small business is a website designer. They know that too. So their designers at these sites have implemented at least some kind of standard ADA compliancy levels. Depending on what platform you go with, they will provide you, at least online, a lot of these have separate support articles, sections on like Wix's site or Squarespace site that talks about accessibility standards and some things to keep in mind. Specifically, it's a lot of color contrast. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, Jordan just dropped in a link from another great company here in town that also designs websites. It looks like they have some resources that they recommend. That's great. So a lot of times it's color contrast, it's font size, it's just a variety of different things, again, that I think we'll see more and more of. But again, don't panic. You're not building this site from code from scratch. You're building it from a template that other designers at that company have built for you, and you're going in and adding your content. But it is good to keep those things in mind just as you're going in and adjusting the template a bit. But thank you, Jordan, for dropping that in.
Yeah, no problem. That does wrap up our questions, but I do want to note there was some conversation back and forth too in the chat about websites, logos, and things like that. So I did share in the chat, I think directly with someone, so I'll include it in the follow-up email about some programs we are currently offering with the Clanin marketing team, both for the brand jumpstart, which is a logo design program, the website audit, which is for if you already have a website that's up and currently running. Scott and his team will audit it to see, how it's running, if it's serving you the best, things like that. And so I'll include all of that in the follow-up email as well. But I did just want to include that in case someone came across that in the chat.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, again, it looks like we don't have any other questions, and I do want to thank you for jumping on. We love giving these webinars and kind of empowering our local community on all things marketing. So thank you very much, SBDC, and all of our community partners. And I hope to see you at one of our next. I think the next one is Instagram, isn't it, Jordan? At the library, yeah. So I hope to see you there. We're going to talk about if you've struggled with Instagram Reels and how to make it and what to look for in trending music. We're going to talk about that at the library next month. So I hope you can join us then or for one of our next upcoming webinars this year. So have a good rest of your day and have a great Memorial Day weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.